I realize now that it will take time, that the road ahead is long and shrouded in darkness. It is a road that will not always take me where I wish to go, and I doubt I will live to see it end, but I will travel down it nonetheless. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Cultured Cabbage. This is part three of our Assassin's Creed. We never had a name for this.
Yeah, it's like a
It's a mini anthology.
yeah, because this is also going to be the end of it's also going to be the end of our story about Desmond also. So it's kind of the end of
Yes. This is the last game that Desmond is actually
the
the
main
main
character.
character. Yeah.
He appears in some of them.
Yeah, he appears in the future, but that's different. But yeah, obviously in the past we did Altair, and last time we did Ezio, and now we're finally ending it off with Connor, the most short-lived out of the three. Although that does not discount the amount of things that he accomplished.
Oh yeah, he allowed us to become a nation.
Yes, we wouldn't be here without Connor Kenway or. Yeah, we're not going with his native name. It's just not possible.
It's hard to pronounce.
But yes,
I think I have an online program that might be able to help us with his name.
good Lord, Carl, no. Carl, that thing can't even say Zatanna right.
It sounds pretty close.
That's enough.
It'll be 1 second. It'll be a 1 second sound.
Close enough. Close enough.
Yep.
But yes, but before we start, I feel like we need some background on the game he comes from, Assassin's Creed 3. Carl, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had a nice spring break so far.
Oh yeah, you're already on spring break. You. Yeah. Go ahead and give us some info on Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay, so Assassin's Creed 3 began working on this game on January 10th of 2000, January 2010. And the title was developed after 2.5 years and the longest development cycle since the first Assassin's Creed game. When Ubisoft first revealed Assassin's Creed Brotherhood in 2010, as new details came to light, there was a confusion within the gaming community to whether this would be Assassin's Creed 3. According to the developers, Brotherhood is not Assassin's Creed 3 as we previously established.
Yeah.
Ubisoft CEO Gatunum, forgive my vision, confirmed during an earnings call November 8th, 2011, that a new major Assassin's Creed game was being released in 2012. He refused to go into any further detail beyond the title being confirmation. Speaking to the CMG, Galbian, the same guy pretty much, dismissed the notion that an annual Assassin's Creed installment would dilute the brand. Man, did they go back on that statement.
Oh boy.
They love their constant titles.
Yep. In February 2012, Ubisoft officially confirmed that they used the Assassin's Creed 3 in a North America release in October 30th, 2012. The president also described Assassin's Creed 3 as the next generation of both Assassin's Creed brand and interactive entertainment / storytelling in general. We will push the title a lot because of its fantastic production that the team has been working on for 3 years. We have seen it. It's just fabulous. Galvin went to say the publishing investing more heavily into the game than any other title in the series. But there was an internal leak, as always. Just like how HBO Max had a leak recently, didn't they?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
The reports that Assassin's Creed 3 would take place during the American Revolution surfaced following a supposed insider source at Ubisoft who made such claim in January 2012. On February 29th of 2012, an upcoming promotional image for the game was sent to Canoe by a Best Buy employee, along with information from retailers on the full reveal was minimal. So that guy got fired quickly.
Whoopsie.
But there was some technical issues. On November 14, 2012, Ubisoft assured the PC version of Assassin's Creed 3 would launch with a few bugs rather than the PS3 and Xbox 360 version. A new patch was in the works to fix glitches on all versions. It was a second title update for the game following a large patch available available day one. The PC launch came with both patches included. After 2 days, Ubisoft detailed the sizable patch schedule for the release across the major platforms. Ubisoft recommended the PC version of the game would be playable with a console controller, even though it would still support a keyboard and mouse setup. And Ubisoft Montreal creative director admitted, "We are definitely supporting PC. We love PC, but I think it'll be a PC with a controller. I don't see us investing hugely in a mouse and a mouse and keyboard setup like Jacob likes to do with. I think if you want to play on PC, you want to play Assassin's Creed, you have to have a controller." End quote.
Actually, that's interesting because I play both. When I'm on console, I know exactly how to control it. It works perfectly. I also know exactly how to control it on keyboard and mouse, which has a completely different type of setup, but
Yeah.
also has its own qualities to it that I like. I just think it's interesting that they said that. It's like you can't play both. It just has it's a different feeling playing on mouse keyboard.
Do you have a preference between the two?
Not really, honestly. It's not like Arkham where I only can use a controller because there are certain button movements that aren't comfortable on the keyboard in that
But are a
game.
lot more comfortable on a controller.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with the controls on. I beat like the Ezio trilogy on with keyboard and mouse. So I see very comfortable with those controls.
Yeah.
But you guys what do you guys think about as controller players?
I honestly think that the Assassin's Creed games play great with a controller, so I can understand where they're coming from. I cannot say that I've played it on a mouse and keyboard, so I can't explain it from that angle, but I do feel like these types of games, like the Assassin's Creed games and like the Arkham games, are more controller
More
sided.
suited to controller, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like how shooters are more contributed, well, depending on the game. Like Call of Duty is pretty friendly, but like a game like TF2
A lot of
and
shooters
Counter-Strike,
are better with a mouse and keyboard
keyboard.
because, analog sticks are not fun sometimes.
Well, I also not defend this guy, but it makes somewhat sense because this is around 2012-ish, if I'm remembering right. I just read it, but
Yeah,
PC gaming was not as big as it is nowadays.
that is also very true. Like we
PC
were still.
gaming, PC gaming from like I want to say 20 from the 90s to the late 2000s was not as relevant. It was like you got the Windows ports, but you didn't really get much else.
Yeah, well, that's specifically because this was pretty much the golden age of, PlayStation and Xbox, of, like the console wars, pretty much. Because obviously, from the late 90s and into the 2000s, obviously it was the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2. And later on, we got the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, which, are synonymous with each other pretty much.
I was like,
And that's
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the PS3 and Xbox 360 when the die down of the war kind of simmered down a little bit for a while?
Yeah,
I
like
think
during
I
that
think it's still
generation is when it
similar.
started to slip down, but it was definitely, well,
I think we've talked about it, but I would definitely say that the Xbox 360, I've played both, is my favorite console of that generation out of the Xbox and PS3, mostly because of how like the controller and like the amount of games available. And also the
and
online features were the best. They were really easy compared to how I've seen PS3 online.
PS3 online can be a crapshoot sometimes. But the PlayStation 3 is also my favorite console of all time, so
It's the only,
I'm somewhat biased.
it's still the only console you still have.
That's not true.
And here's the
You
Wii.
haven't upgraded in a while.
I have a Wii, I have a Nintendo Switch, I
Okay.
have
The Switch is the only modern console you have.
And to call it modern is kind of a stretch because it's kind of like just a juiced up, like a kind of worse PS4, Xbox One.
I mean, I have a
You can't defend yourself. I've made my point.
I have an at game Sega Genesis out here somewhere that was made in like 2018.
That's Genesis.
Okay, on to the I'll want me to go into marketing. There
Yes.
were a few exclusive. Okay, so Ubisoft has collaborated with several retailers on a pre-order bonus available through different store chains throughout the world. Which pre-order bonus the player received upon which they pre-ordered the game? A steelbook collector featuring artwork from renowned comic book artist Alex Ross was available as a pre-order extensive. The Captain of Aqua DLC pack included a single-player weapon, the Pirate's Broader Act, and a single-player skin, the Captain of Aqua uniform, like a colonial Assassin DLC pack included a single-player weapon, the Scott Flintlock, and a single-player skin, the traditional colonial assassin outfit. The Red Coat multiplayer DLC pack included a red-coated costume, a snake emblem, and a Dr. Doll relic. In the US, GameStop offered the single-player mission Lost Mayan Ruins and the Sawtooth Sword. Best Buy is offering the single-player mission Ghost of War and the Conical War Club, while Amazon is offering the Steelbook case. Retail version, the Freedom Edition included a retail copy of the game, a steelbook of the with art by Alex Ross, Washington's Notebook, a 24 centimeter figure of the protagonist Connor, and 2 exclusive lithographs. The game included 2 exclusive single-player missions, which I mentioned before, Ghost of War and the Lost Mayan Ruins. Join or Die Edition featured a retail copy of the game, Connor's medallion, the medallion of the assassins in a true idol, and the Washington Notebook. And this one only included the Ghost of War mission and additional multiplayer. The special edition included a copy of the game and a special packaging. The UB Workshop edition included the second edition of Assassin's Creed, the Encyclopedia, and includes a 5 rare printing and a graphic novel titled Assassin's Creed Subject 4. The limited edition featured a copy of the game, a 24 centimeter figurine of Connor, a 24 by 48 Assassin's Creed inspired colonial flag, a 3 by 3.5 metal belt buckle with Assassin's Creed insignia, and a George Washington notebook. And this was not available in the UK though, or in Europe, due to anti-British sentiment portrayed in the content, apparently.
On the context, really, the British are so we're like we're portrayed in the way that Americans saw us. No.
And the digital exclusive edition featured a retail copy of the game, Washington's Notebook, the official Assassin's Creed 3 soundtrack, an in-game content with 3 exclusive single-player missions, 2 skins, and 2 additional multiplayer characters. It also included the Benedict Arnold DLC, previously exclusive to only the PS3. This edition is exclusive to the PC version. And Washington's edition included all 3 parts of the Tyranny of King George Washington, the hidden secret pack, and the Battle of Hardin pack, which was released in June of 2013. And in September 2018, a remastered version of the third game was released, which remastered all updated the character model and was released on Microsoft, PS4, and Xbox 360 as both a downloadable add-on to Assassin's Creed Odyssey and a standalone game on March 29, 2019, and a Switch version was released on May 21st, 2019.
I actually own that Switch version, and it's not very good. It runs really bad.
That
And it
is.
also-
Go ahead.
It just says the remastered version, limited of the DLC. We numbered a bunch of them, but the remastered version included all the original DLC, sans the multiplayer content, and has removed the feature. This version also included legacy outfits based on protagonists from later games, including Edward Kenway from Black Flag, Shay Patrick from Rogue, Arno from Unity, Jacob Bray from Syndicate, and Malik from Origins, and Atlas from Odyssey. And Ardila D. Neref outfit from the live-action Assassin's Creed film was included as well.
Yeah, the remastered version, if you're gonna play it on anything, get that version because it's the best one. It also has, they didn't say it there, it also includes Assassin's Creed Liberation in it, a whole other game. That's HD, they have the HD version of that as well. The PC version is the one I like because other than the original version, it runs at 60, so that's pretty nice. I still think that the Xbox version is completely fine, and even when you upgrade to Xbox One, it's quite good still, but it's the best version you can. But just don't get on Switch.
Good lord, that is a lot of content for this game.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like, holy crap. Well, anyways, I feel like it's about time we get into Connor himself. I know in the past I took Altair and Ezio with some help from Carl. But Jacob, my friend, my buddy, my home pal, my bread slice, my dog.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the honors of recapping Connor's story?
Yeah, sure.
Because obviously I know you've played this game How many times by this point?
Two, I think.
Oh, I thought it was more.
Also, I've definitely seen more.
Yeah, fair
So,
enough.
this game actually does not start out with Connor.
Does not.
More controversially starts off with Ethan Kenway, a Templar who I believe he's going undercover, and
Yes. Yes, he is.
so I like it. I like some of the parts. I think it's a little slow.
Yeah,
The
like
beginning.
I feel like that's one of the main problems people have with the game is that, the Haytham section, I think it takes like 4 sequences, something like
Mhm.
that, which
Yeah.
is a bit much.
But what it does is it established the weapons, established the new combat, which we'll talk
Yeah,
about later.
exactly. Because
It
this game
establishes their
feels
characters,
this
which
game feels very different compared to, previous Assassin's Creed games.
mostly due to the free run mechanic, but we'll talk about when they get later into their combat. But
Yeah,
so he meets this woman. This I believe she's been captured. If I remember correctly,
some something
she's
to that
taken.
extent.
But they do the deed. Well, it turns out that she's pregnant, so she has her kid in the village, and then so he's born. He doesn't know
And
about his
that's
father.
Connor.
Yeah. It's a really cool sequence they have where you're kind of going around the trees, all this stuff. You're playing hide and seek,
Yeah, you're playing hide and seek
but
with your friends
disaster strikes when his village gets burned.
by
Which
that dang Charles Lee.
give me Lee.
Give
He
me
wants
Lee.
that's a big meme because he says that.
This man's hate boner for Lee is like legendary.
Yeah. So he grows up a little bit. They end up rebuilding the village, but he goes off when he grows up. He ends up going to the city, Boston, and there he meets Apollo,
Achilles,
Achilles. Pretty close. Achilles is he's a former slave who
who
becomes
joined the
yeah,
Assassin's Order.
it's been a while since I played it. This is
It's
the
all
only
good. It's all good.
problem. Yeah, so he starts to. It's funny. This game is kind of cinematic because you stay outside of his house for multiple days trying to get him to recruit you.
Yeah, because at
Like,
first he doesn't wanna. He
yeah,
just refuses to.
like you sleep in the shed. You're like, let me in.
Let me in.
By the way, he has a tougher personality for sure than
Yeah,
other characters because of basically all the struggle he's went through.
and I've heard some people say this makes him more boring. I disagree.
I think it's just more understandable that why he acts like that.
Exactly. And when we talked about him, we mentioned how Altair had a pretty rough personality for most of the time that he was on screen. And, I don't think that made him boring. These are two very different characters, but it's a very similar deal where they're sort of not unlikable, but they are Ezio, they're not cracking jokes and stuff like that.
He actually, so after he meets Achilles, they go to Boston, and in Boston he meets pretty much all like the freedom fighters,
Yep.
which are if you know American history, you know most of them. It's very very awesome to see those
Yeah.
characters and
To see all these
seeing them.
historical figures.
That I think that's one of the coolest parts of the game is just seeing all the characters in there.
Yeah, especially because obviously, it's not the first time they've done an Assassin's Creed game, but I feel like this was like the most thorough implementation. Is that fair to say? Because obviously, with Ezio and the Renaissance, there was a lot of notable figures, but with this, it's like, holy crap, it's George Washington.
It's
It's
George freaking Washington, dude.
yeah, you fight alongside George Washington.
Okay, you literally fight in the Battle of Bunker Hill,
Exactly.
which is
Like
awesome.
this is legit living out historical moments.
Which is something it's always been very good at. But so Connor he finds out that Hatham he wants to find out what Hatham and his friends are doing. It turns out that Charles Lee is part of that.
Yeah, and Hatham's his dad. And he's like, I don't want to kill my dad, but I'll probably have to.
Yeah, and on his way there, they have to save Samuel Adams.
They do.
Because people have him tied up.
This is American Revolution. What do you expect?
Yeah. Oh, no, you also it'll probably say I'll probably get to it, but like the Boston Tea Party as well, you participate in
Yes,
it.
you're part of the Boston Tea Party. You're just tossing these boxes into the water.
You meet some more people. I'm not gonna. They're not.
We're not gonna go that in depth.
But he receives his robe.
Yeah, he becomes an assassin.
Yeah, later he receives he's a rogue, and he actually omitted he omitted the ceremony because Achilles just invited him in. Like, you're an assassin. Put on this
Yeah.
stuff. And the more stuff happens where they invite people, and then we get to some of the cooler stuff in the game, which is like the Boston Tea Party. And then you declare war on the Templars because
This is an Assassin's
Charles
Creed game
Lee
after all.
Charles Lee is a part of it as well.
Yeah.
And you dump the tea, and then you actually, oh, here's another thing. You also ride with Paul Revere, which is
You do.
awesome. Like, you literally ride with the guy who went to cities, to towns, to tell people about the British.
Yeah, you meet with Paul Revere. It's not part of the story, but you also meet Daniel Boone.
Yeah, famous
Even
hunter.
though, if I remember right, he didn't say the British are coming. He said the redcoats are
Yeah, the
coming.
redcoats.
Yeah, he doesn't say the British are coming, but
But
oh
yeah,
well.
it's so
Because
awesome. That's why
because
this game is really good.
you know why he would have been really dumb to say that?
Why?
Because they're all British.
You don't say.
They're all, well, at this point they were calling themselves American. And then right after Paul Revere, you get to Bunker Hill, which is awesome.
That level is awesome. I'd probably have to say I don't know if that's my favorite level in the game, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, this is hit after hit.
Yeah, like the Battle
At
of
this
Bunker
point.
Hill is such an awesome mission.
You end up also going to jail because you get arrested. Pretty
No
common.
surprise.
Yeah. You were for charges of counterfeiting, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, out of everything you did, it was counterfeiting. Go figure.
Oh, it's
Um,
like tax evasion with Al Capone. You got to get him on something.
Yeah, that's true. We can't prove you did all this extra stuff, but we can get you for this.
yeah, so you end up getting out of the prison, and you actually get attacked by Lee. You try to fight him, but he holds you against the wall. And then he realizes that you're the kid he burned down the village of. And he
Yeah.
laughed at you. He's
I will say, Charles Lee's a big old idiot. He's had several times he was able to kill you throughout this game.
he
Never
decides
takes
not to. So you actually
One.
so Charles Lee, he tries to assassinate Connor, but Connor gets away. Pretty cool mission. And then he finds his way to attend the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which is awesome. One of my favorite parts of the entire game, because as audience could probably tell, reading off all these events, these are like one of the reasons people fondly remember this game is how it showed so many moments in American history that are just so big that if you're a fan of American history, this is a game for you. Now I'll talk later about problems, but like as far as the story goes, this is pretty good. This is so now there's been attacks in the sea, so we're gonna need a French ship to go get them, which is the first appearance of a ship in Assassin's Creed. Do you get to go inside? But what you're looking for is actually the Shard of Eden, because of course we know that the Apple of Eden is very important, but we're looking for the shard here, and so we end up finding it, and it actually allows you to deflect gunfire, which is kind of crazy. You end up going to New York, which is one of the cooler places in the game, and then you meet up with Avalon and kind of have a little bit of a side quest there. But the main thing is you have to work with Hatham, which we know where if you know history with the history of Hatham, he doesn't really like him that much. Like he sees him as the absent father who's never really there. This kind of despises him. So them having to work together is kind of tough.
While on the flip side, Hatham tries to pretty much convert Connor to become a Templar.
Yeah, but even with all this stuff happening, Connor still hasn't been able to beat all of the Templars he's been targeting.
Yeah,
and eventually Connor gets ambushed by his own father. He gets betrayed.
who would have guessed?
Yeah, I don't. He doesn't like him, to say the least, because
Rightfully so.
he tries to. It was always an on ice relationship, which is one of the bigger parts of the story of the game. It's just Hatham Kenway in general, which is why they kind of had you play him in the beginning to get an idea of how he interacted with people.
But yeah, I do agree it was the right call. I just don't think we should have played as him as long as we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we played him actually in 3 seconds. I looked that up. We played him in 3 seconds. Not 4.
Okay.
So the next
I-
target.
I will say there is a correction I have to make. You said Connor hates his father because he thinks of him as an absentee father, correct?
Yes.
There's a secondary aspect that you're forgetting.
If he's also a Templar.
That's the second. Okay, fine. Third one.
I don't know that.
He, for a while, thought his father ordered the death of his village, including his mother.
Oh.
Because if you remember, It says here in my little Wikipedia, where does it say? Hey, Hatham casually asked Honor about his mother, as ties with Hatham shortly after Connor was after they just had sex, pretty much. However, the assassin only answers him that she has been murdered under his order, which shocks Hatham. To this, Hatham claims that he had ordered no such thing, though Connor ignored his father's protest. He only states that he had run out of forgiveness.
Yeah, so Connor is a dark character.
Yeah.
That's one thing you find because even with like George Washington, he still doesn't trust him, even when he's working with him.
Especially when they finally, realize that, oh, Charles Lee's kind of a huge, doo-doo face. George Washington spares his life, something that Connor takes a great apposition to
And not
later
to
on.
mention, George Washington also called for his village to be burned.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up, bro.
A little messed up, you know. So his next target is church, but not that church.
He's going after
Yes.
the church.
Death to the
Benjamin,
Protestant Church.
Benjamin Church. You find him in a ship, which we were talking about earlier. It's the first time this ship has been. You can drive a ship in the series.
I thought we took down the church in Assassin's Creed 2.
We took down the Pope. You also fight Biddle, and so you have more battles. I'm not gonna say their names because honestly, they're not super important unless you're Charles Lee. But basically, he takes out all of these. He's trying to take out all the Templars, and so Hatham is still like trying to interfere with the mission, which so he's getting real troublesome.
Yeah.
And George Washington, but Connor's like, hey, don't mess with me. This is my revenge, not yours. This has nothing to do with you. So he doesn't like them interfering.
No. And from there, he almost kind of strikes out on his own for a while because pretty much his mind. Because by this point, you've taken out you know how the Assassin's Creed games go. At the end of every sequence, you take down, the big target that you have. But by this point, it's only Hatham and Lee, pretty much.
Yeah. What next up we have? I'm skipping over some more not like
some more
important to stuff fluff. But next we get to the Benedict Arnold series of events where if you guys know this, like when someone calls you a Benedict Arnold, it means that you're a traitor. He basically sends a message in history. He sent a message to the British Army about where the Americans were, and the Americans I believe they lost the battle or something. But Benedict Arnold was exiled essentially.
Yeah.
For just letting him go. And there's actually a quote here. It says, "Whom can we trust now if patriots are betraying us?" Then Connor says, "You reap what you sow." Like such an edgy line. And Connor actually confronts Arnold about it. And
Connor is very much a man of. He's very much a man of himself, not like a narcissistic way, but he doesn't.
He doesn't do things for other people.
Yeah, he's not really doing this for the the people around him. He's not here to win America's independence. He wants to get revenge and save his people.
He doesn't pick sides.
Yeah, obviously
which is why actually in the game you can kill both Americans and British people.
Yes,
Americans and British soldiers.
That is also true. Obviously, you do actually make friends along the way, but when it came down to
it says later in 1981 or 1781, Achilles is sick and dying in bed, and it's a really sad scene. But he ends up dying, and now Connor wants to enter Fort George. So
but how is he to do that?
So he wants to kill Lee while he's doing that, and Admiral deGrassi tries to help. Is trying to help him, but eventually, later, Hatham attacks Connor.
Yeah, after Connor breaks into Fort George, Hatham comes in. And this is after Connor gets hit with a cannonball.
He's still alive somehow.
Like, bro, he got freaking annihilated, yet was still able to fight Hatham. It's pretty impressive.
This guy's life kind of sucks. That's one thing we never forget when we're playing.
He has to kill his own father.
Yeah. He says, Hatham stated that he was, in a way, proud of Connor, that he should have killed him long before. He reads about his childhood in Latin betrayal and discovering he also saved his life. He also saved Connor's life. He had actually saved him from being executed. He severed the rope, which showed he probably what he also did was he pretended he didn't know that the mom died because he never thought that Connor would believe Washington did it.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't really want to he wipes his type father off the target wall, but he doesn't hate him because he still wants to stick with the assassins.
Yeah. He and his dad have a very messed up relationship.
Yes. The big part. Do we want to get into Juno stuff later, or are we
Um,
just gonna stop at Lee?
let's go through the rest of what Connor goes through. Then we'll get into the
We'll get to the modern day plot.
Okay.
yeah.
So Lee, he finally talks to Lee.
Oh,
And
well,
this is one of my favorite lines. The final words, Lee says, even though those men you sought to save and turned their backs on, yet you fight, you resist. Why? Because no one else will. And one of my favorite things about this, so this is one of the most actually annoying missions in the game because there's like
Yeah, because it's so easy to lose him.
Yeah, and also you don't know the route until you do it a few times.
Yeah, it's very much trial and error.
But basically you chase him into a bar, and
This scene was this was a crazy scene when I first played it out because obviously this happened after you got shot by a cannon, after you fought Hatham, and now you just chased down Charles Lee through like a burning building slash was it a ship?
it's a boat.
Yeah. But it's burning, it's crumbling down around you. Both of you are just absolutely torn and messed up.
Yeah, and then you shoot him, and then he runs off.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And then you meet in the bar later. You know, like almost no words are exchanged.
Yeah,
He hands you the
I'll quote the article a little bit here.
Yeah.
It says, limping to a harbor master, Connor learned that Lee had fled to Monmouth. There, Connor found Lee at the Consonaga Inn, still bleeding but drinking silently. Upon spotting Connor, Lee offered Connor his drink, which Connor accepted. The two sat together while observing the patrons. In the end, Lee looked over at Connor and nodded slightly. This signaled Connor to stab Lee in the heart, killing him once and for all. And so he received the key to Grand Temple before setting down the table like a patron who had too much to drink, which was the assassin had promptly left. After this, actually, there's a little bit of time skip.
Yeah.
And Connor had gone west, and America had been established.
Yep, it's like excuse me, it's like my favorite American Tail movie, Connor Goes West.
Yeah.
I,
We're not going
I
to
will.
get alternate universe stuff, so what we're going to do is
I'm going to mention one thing.
Hmm.
Before you do the final mission, you get a radical makeover. I mean,
Yeah.
literally a radical one.
Wait,
he cuts his hair.
I never got that. I played with the Ezio outfit the whole time. I didn't realize that was gonna happen.
It says, following the encounter, Connor shaved his head into a mohawk, smeared his face with war paint, confronts Lee at Hatham's funeral.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, I played with the Ezio outfit. I forgot how you actually get that.
Yeah, I don't use those. I actually use like a black and red one outfit.
That's fair. I mean, before that, I used the blue outfit. I thought it looked really nice.
I don't remember what I used.
Hold on.
I do know that you couldn't customize Altair in the first game. You could customize Ezio in the second game, but obviously the armor of Altair was far and beyond the best armor in the game. So it kind of almost limited what you could look like by then. In Brotherhood, I used the red and gold. I don't know about you guys.
Red and gold was pretty good.
In Brotherhood?
Yeah.
I just used the regular outfit, dude.
I mean, yeah, the regular one looks awesome, but I liked switching it up.
I think I ran around as a cyborg ninja.
Oh yeah, I did
You
that
were
too.
Raiden.
I also used the Raiden outfit.
I ran around as
the Raiden outfit. I mean.
Raiden, not Raiden. Raiden is someone different.
Yeah, he's the Thunder God. Wrong
franchise.
Raiden. And in Revelations, you actually have the gray one, like by default. But I got the Masyaf white, which was the like classic colors, which I think looks awesome with the actual design of the robes in that game.
But after he goes out, he went to the longhouse where he saw his clan mother, and he opened the box containing the crystal ball. The artifact was triggered, and Juno talked to him. He's really mad, of course, that his allies betrayed him. That's of course,
Naturally.
Juno was like, Juno tells him, "Hey, look, just forget about it." Well, he just needs to do what he wants. He just needs to stay in it basically. And he wondered a lot about what his purpose was, and Juno told him his purpose was he fulfilled his role, and but he wanted complete justice. But she told him that complete justice isn't a thing, but he did make a difference, and that he would do so and would do so again. And then told him to hide the amulet where no one would find it. The amulet he got from Charles Lee, and then he never saw Juno. And then the last part of the game, I like this a lot. He removes the tomahawk from the manor's post, and
Yeah, that was awesome. Because earlier in the game, he throws the tomahawk into the Mander's post because that's the sign of war, pretty much.
he takes it out because the war is over, and he removes basically everything
Yeah, he
from the Templars, burns it, and he's moving on. He meets with Washington. This is one of my favorite parts of the game. Washington tells him he planned to retire. It says Connor expressed disappointment and argued that he should continue leading the country in peacetime as well as war. And that is the end of Assassin's Creed 3's main story.
Well,
There's an alternate line, but we're not going to talk about that.
there is also the part where he does bury Achilles with the amulet.
Yeah. So overall, what do you guys think of this story?
I was waiting for when the man comes around to start playing at the end, like Logan. But
I think this story is one of the most solid. Like people complain about this character. I don't think it's a problem, honestly. Like
yeah,
this story
minus
is
the points that
fantastic.
minus the pacing issues that we mentioned. Other than that, I think the story is really good.
It's extremely solid, and I actually think it's a pretty good hero's journey because
Especially for, I'm just gonna say, especially for a character who is only going to be in this game,
yeah. Now,
compared to
if
compared to Ezio, Altair, and even Desmond, who are in multiple games.
if we're going to talk about the characters, we need to talk about the backlash with Connor as well, we were talking about a little bit, but some fans were called this game trash because Ezio wasn't in it, and they didn't like how serious Connor was.
Which is a serious what moment?
Like, if you think about it, I mean, Connor has people he can rely on, but they all betray him because he's an Indian. Like they're not fighting for him.
Wouldn't
Or
you
it's
feel
not
a
it's not that
little?
they don't respect him, but they're not.
Wouldn't you feel a little cold to the people who betrayed you?
He's a dark character because that's what his life has led him to.
Yeah, honestly, out of most of the assassins, in the series, he got treated the worst.
If you look at like we're comparing to Ezio, what happened to Ezio? Ezio's got his family killed by someone who betrayed him, but almost everyone else is pretty kind to him,
Yeah,
other than his enemies.
yeah, yes. Ezio went through tragedy.
Connor doesn't have a support system.
Exactly.
Other than Achilles. Other than Achilles.
And Achilles dies, before the end of the game. So
Actually, I just learned something reading the Wikipedia page for the third game.
yeah.
There was a secondary controversy. Minus
What's
people
that?
who didn't like. Apparently, in June of 2012, Ubisoft, and in particular its French-Canadian subsidiary Ubisoft Montreal, had to fend off increased accusation of anti-British prejudice after a trailer and a box art displaying the killing of redcoats started to appear. One site described the 4th of July live-action trailer as American nationalism. Lead scriptwriter McCormick May defended the developer and publisher Ubisoft from allegations of bigotry and discrimination. This controversy, however, continued because marketing material continued to display only the British as the enemy. For the number of game outlets, non-US trailer cutting scenes did not seem to despise the protagonist killing patriot. The publisher eventually decided that the limited edition of the game would not be sold in the UK or Europe. Upon the game's release, critics say their depiction was balanced and fair. Official Xbox Magazine UK felt the strong aspects for Assassin's Creed 3 is more mature moral tone. None of the anticipated "Yay America!" In another review by Colta, the review notes publishers from big video game competitor companies are not known for subtlety or complex of themes, going on to say that the marketing always suggested that Assassin's Creed 3 igniting of the revolution would be a game of interactive socialism. Its developers always said it was not. The developers were the ones being accurate.
Yeah, I think that's important is to say, like, we talked earlier about how even the Americans, but what they did was bad was portrayed in this game.
Yeah, I don't think it was specifically anti-British, this game portrayed George Washington, the first president of the United States, in not a bad light, but like not in a perfect light either.
No,
He's
he
not
Oh
wasn't a
no.
portrayed as
perfect
this.
person.
He's not portrayed as this folk hero who did everything amazingly.
Oh no, I've watched a few history videos by a history channel, not the history channel, but a guy who's an historian, and he even said George Washington is a perfect leader, but a horrible man to lead into battle. He made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, George Washington was not perfect. Let's just say that much.
Like, he was a good leader, but a horrible strategist.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. I mean, if we're talking about George Washington here, the legacy of George Washington is really preserved with this game because even Connor says you should be the one to lead
Yeah,
because Connor respects him. Even
yeah.
you'd be surprised because Connor would hate him because of what he did. But we should talk about the gameplay next, or the mission structure first of all. The mission gameplay in general, like mission structure and
Yeah.
combat.
So
This is
obviously
where my
earlier
gripes with the game come in.
we did mention earlier how it's definitely an improvement on the past. Like Jacob mentioned, the new free run system, which I think is just really fun.
Yeah, it's satisfying.
Sadly, I never got to use it, but like the cinematic when you like run through a door and out the other,
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
that's awesome. Although you'll never use it because they're so rare. But
Get a little bit into the mission structure. So in this game, you'll have a few missions. You'll have do you have tailing missions, stealth missions, and combat missions, or
yes.
chase missions more accurately. There's also just like following missions, which is different than tailing. There's two different
Yeah,
types.
some of them are legit just going from point A to point B.
And they could have made it a cutscene, but they chose not to. That's I don't know the percentage, but I'm guessing that a large percentage of this game is tailing because I remember a lot of just tailing missions. But there were also some great combat missions.
Yeah,
But yeah, there. If you ever play this game, you're like, hey, that sounds interesting. The story is great. It's just that it's sometimes the pace of the missions are so slow.
yeah.
It's
It really
painful.
sometimes it just takes forever to feel like you did anything.
For example, the first cutscene basically of you landing in Boston is like a tutorial area kind of,
Yeah.
but it's a slow walking following scene. And I think you were talking off camera about how if you walk too slow, he goes ahead of you, but if you walk too fast, you go ahead of him.
Yeah, there is no middle ground. You just that kind of stuff frustrates me beyond belief.
In later ones, Carl knows this. They added the feature where if you put down the controller, he'd follow him automatically. The character just falls automatically, but that wasn't in this one.
Wait, say that again?
So if you just kind of stayed next to them and didn't press anything, you just follow them automatically. So it would be like a cutscene.
I
Did you ever get that?
I never knew that. No.
Well, it's a thing, but this game does not have that. You have to manually follow them throughout the entire thing. The tailing missions are also very boring because a lot of them involve, standing outside of like what's the word? What's it called when you listen in their conversations?
Oh, eavesdrop.
Yeah, eavesdrop conversations. Like for example, you'll be on the side of a building trying to eavesdrop on a conversation, which in my opinion is not interesting game design. Like in these games, there were enough in the older ones for me to forgive that, but this one just it's abundant how little there is.
Yeah.
There are other mechanics. Of course, there's the whole like frontier area, which is just kind of empty most of the time.
I simultaneously like it and hate it. When you look at it from like, yeah, it is very empty a lot of the time, but I also just love the atmosphere of it.
Yeah, and then of course there's the boats, which is the first time they ever dealt with it, and I think that it's not bad.
No, I mean it will get better, but for its first time, being in like an official game mechanic, it's not bad.
Mhm. What other thing we're going to talk about mission structure? Oh, the combat. So this game's combat is kind of different. We now have where there are red logos around when someone's about to attack you. We also have where you can do double kills. You can grab pretty much any weapon. It's really cool. You can pick up enemy guns and shoot with them. There's a lot of options, but I think the biggest and one of the biggest improvements is definitely the animations. Carl, would you say the animations got a little more brutal in this new one? I think they did.
In three, oh yeah, they got very brutal.
They got crazy.
Like the sword kills are crazy as well.
Yeah, and if you counter two people at the same time, or even two or even three, you get a special cutscene. It's so cinematic, awesome.
Another awesome thing is like, for example, when using the tomahawk, he just like slams it into them like
Yeah,
three
yeah.
times.
Like, bro, he just goes to
He's angry.
freaking town.
I think that it kind of like the animations, like with Unity or like with Syndicate, for example, show the personality of the characters.
Yeah, and
Connor swings around a lot.
you get a few more a few new weapons to play around with too. Like I said, the tomahawk.
The big
You know,
axe.
you had the axe. You could use bombs before, but in this one you could use the tripwires, which honestly I actually really like doing.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite weapon from this game is the rope dart.
Yeah, it's cool.
The rope dart is awesome because obviously you can do a lot of things with it. You can pull the enemy towards you. It's actually good for countering, and it's also really useful for stealth missions. If you can get a good vantage point above them.
Whenever stealth is used in this game, it's not terrible. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. But we talked about the story, we talked about the gameplay mechanics. Where would you guys put Connor on your list of protagonists so far? We've talked about.
I do hate to do this, but I would have to put him at the bottom. But it's not like he's a bad, at the bottom.
Yeah, we talked earlier about his story is quite strong.
Yeah, he has a really strong story. But I think the main reason it's hard for me to put him above Altair or Ezio is mostly the fact that I feel like we could have spent just a little more time with him. And I feel
Most of his character arc is just revenge. It's not much. It's a revenge story. It's not really too much
not a
more than that.
particularly deep character outside of that.
Like there are stories for everything. It's just that's not like the assassin story. There is like he's an honorable person. That's one of my favorite things about him. Even if he doesn't like someone, he'll still respect them. Yeah, I'd say he's probably the worst so far, but it's not terrible. There are worse assassins.
He's at number 3, but he's not bad. That's the thing.
I mean, you're going up against freaking Ezio. If you're looking at it from the perspective of playing through the entire series, which does affect, by the way, like playing through all of them in order, you do judge this guy after the previous peak character writing in the series, which was Ezio. They try to do the thing where you see him as almost his entire life, but in my opinion, it doesn't work as well. But yeah, what would you give the game? Would you say it's good?
I would say it's good. What about you, DJ?
I gotta agree with that point. Again, I know it sounds kind of harsh putting them, below Altair and Ezio, but that just goes to show how great all three of these characters
we're
are.
talking about is the game good?
I know, but I was finishing up my thought from earlier.
Yeah.
But the game itself, I really enjoyed. Like you said, the story's really strong. The characters, for the most part, like you said, Connor's very revenge driven. And outside of obviously the historical figures, there isn't really much to talk about for side characters. I feel like the main one is Achilles. I can't name many outside of that. And like I said, the historical figures who do much of note. And I guess by extension, Hatham.
I'll give this game one thing. I think it's this and the only game to do it. We're not going to get into it, but the only one who's given an alternate reality to it.
Yeah, with the Tyranny of King Washington, or however the name of it goes. I can't remember.
One thing, I think the biggest thing with this game, one of the reasons why especially it appealed to me when I was younger, was American history.
Yeah, like the setting.
It's hard to separate that from me. It's like, because I am American, yes. So this to me is a story that I've read about a lot.
Yeah.
So I have a different relationship with it than like a Bruce person playing this game.
And the setting is just awesome, really. A lot of new things were introduced in this game. Some stuck, some didn't. But overall, I really enjoyed this game. I'd give it I'm torn between 8.5 and a 9.
I'm gonna say 7.5. And that's not to say it's bad at all. But I'm saying like on replay, it's not the greatest.
I mean, I'm not gonna replay it anytime soon because it's quite a long game.
I was gonna mention that. Yeah, the game is extremely long.
Yeah, like once you play it through all the way once, you're coming good after that. So I'll give it an 8.5. There's a lot I enjoy about this game. I feel like we all agree that there's some setbacks.
We're gonna get into that in a later time. We're gonna get into the ending of because in our previous videos we have talked about
about Desmond.
But we're gonna get into Desmond into another video.
He gets his own video
because he has his own side arc in this game.
Yes, and I believe this is actually
the modern day sections in this game.
I'd say this is like my favorite implementation of Desmond.
Mhm.
Like in terms of like the modern day stuff.
We got some stuff in Brotherhood, but we also got some weird first person stuff in Revelations.
Yeah,
And
most of that was just a bunch of lore dumping, but I kind of enjoyed that. It was refreshing. There
but
isn't
this
really
is
much to
where
talk about in one, since obviously that was just the beginning of everything.
this is the game where you actually get to play as in his cool hoodie. Or maybe you get to go like into the real world and do assassin stuff.
Exactly. Like the mission where you have to go up the Abstergo Tower. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think that'll wrap up the conversation for us.
yeah, is there anything else we want to say about Connor?
Give him lead.
Give him Lee.
Give me lead.
Let him cook.
Who let Charles Lee cook?
Anything else you want to say, Carl?
No, I agree with everything you guys said, pretty much.
Yeah, and
Fair
you know what
enough.
I think Connor would do? I think Connor would go get cookies from DJ's house.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh,
Thank you, Jacob. I forgot about that.
Jacob, don't encourage him.
Go to DJ to get his own copy of Assassin's Creed 3
Yeah, we'll
and his
steal it from him
cookies.
and then give it to me because I need more of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need more copies of Assassin's Creed games. Yeah,
If you guys have any spare Revelations copies, I'll take them.
you can't have mine.
Are you sure I
Yes.
can't have the Black
Buzz
Box
off.
Revelations?
Buzz off.
Oh no, don't worry. Next time we see DJ, we'll just steal his copy from his house.
Thank you.
His
That's
dad
not
won't.
even gonna work. You
Your dad won't mind.
you use a stinky Xbox. I use the superior PlayStation.
I played on PC my last playthrough.
Well, you can't just stick a PlayStation 3 game into your PC and expect it to work.
No, I'm just keeping my
Try.
collection so you can't play it.
I'll still digitally download Assassin's Creed 1.
Oh
Yeah,
no. Don't you
yeah,
already have a physical copy of that game?
yeah.
So
I'll
no,
take that too.
we'll just steal all your Assassin's Creed games from your house and give them to DJ.
Yeah. Soon we'll have to do a review of the BioShock series, And then Carl will have to play it because he didn't play them last time, even though he has them on PSN.
Carl ain't gonna do that at all.
I haven't even finished Black Flag.
Or
Black Flag's a part of
Origins.
the Desmond series.
I haven't even started Black Flag.
Or started Origins.
I started Origins.
He hasn't finished it yet.
Yes, I finished Origins as a.
I don't even know where the heck I was.
I know where I am in Origins.
I'm done. I beat it twice.
I know assassins wanted to
Hmm.
come and kill me, and
That's
then I
almost
fought,
the entire plot, you
and
idiot.
then I fought, then I fought
Assassin's Creed.
Deathstroke. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you fight female Copperhead yet?
No, I have not fought Copperhead yet.
I just realized we've got off on a major tangent thanks to Jacob. Reminded me of our cookie joke.
Yep. Which is
But
why
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna
do
end.
all that.
Oh wait,
That's
no,
what we
I
do
just
on the
remembered.
show.
I just remembered one more thing actually, Jacob.
Well,
You just
should you put all the images on screen?
No, actually, yeah. Put an image of Assassin's Creed 3, and then the TLCs, and then the Washington King Washington.
Put a picture of George Washington in his underwear.
No, no, no.
That's a
And
specific request from Carl. I didn't ask for it. He did.
No,
And
you asked for Washington, you
I
idiot.
did not. This is major gaslighting.
you two disgust me.
I love our jokes.
As a wise duck once said, you're despicable.
Well, I was having a bad day.
I'm having a bad day.
Try not to get
Anyway,
us demonetized, you fracking idiot.
Oh, despicable me. Oh,
anyways, I think it's a good place to end.
yeah, it's the perfect place to end by all accounts. But yes, on behalf of my friends, Carl and Jacob, this is your favorite Southern Californian son signing off.
See you guys on the other side.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all. Peace.